Hey guys, welcome back. We're in the Bog kitchen and we're doing sauerkraut today. Now it's a lacto fermentation style sauerkraut, so all you're gonna need is going to be the cabbage and salt, and everything else is just a little bit of elbow grease and thyme. Now you're going to first prep everything together, and then you're going to add the salt. So you're gonna chop everything up, add salt, and then you're going to knead it like dough almost. And what I like doing is I like kneading it for a little while and then letting it sit for like maybe 20 minutes, then going back and doing it again. And what this does is just gives everything time to work. So what you're just gonna do is the salt is going to start pulling liquid from the cabbage, and that's going to make your brine. So you're not going to add any water during this whole process. And then once it's all done, you have an adequate amount of water in the bottom of this. You're going to add it to a jar, and the same setup as all the other times we've done this. And I'll leave a link for all of the lacto fermentation explanation in the first video and everything else we've done. I'll leave that in the description, and I'll probably put something up here to show you the last video we did with the lacto fermentation. But we have our silicone burpers. We're going to put that on there, and the same thing, you let it sit. But with cabbage, to make that sauerkraut, you're going to have to let it sit for a lot longer. It's going to sit for about 7 days. And if you want a little bit more tart, a little more sour, a little bit more of that fermented taste, you're going to go a little bit longer. So 7 is the amount of time that I figured that I like the most. Now you can add caraway seeds if that's something you like, but you don't have to. And you do that right before you start putting it into your jar. So let's get started. All right, now as I said, this process is really simple. What we're gonna do is prepare the cabbage. This part just involves chopping it up. Now, the thickness really depends on your personal preference. If you like a thin sauerkraut, then you are going to chop it thin. If you don't mind it or like it thicker, then make it a little bit thicker. Once everything's chopped up, you're going to add salt. We're going to add about 2 tablespoons of salt. And then you're going to begin the kneading process. Just like dough, you're going to knead this. You're going to continue this kneading process. You want to be able to form enough liquid to be able to cover the cabbage. So what I end up doing is alternating between kneading and letting it sit. I feel that it makes it a little bit easier, it makes this process a little bit easier. And the end result is you want to have liquid. You want it to be dripping and soaking wet. So when you start adding it to your container, it'll start to fill up with water as you push down. Alright, so now we're going to put it all into a jar. I feel like a head of cabbage fits perfectly into a half-gallon jar, so that's what I use. I fill it all up, and then I use the glass weight that I'm going to use at the end to weight it all down, to push down on top of it, to try to get the water to come up as much as I can. All right, and it's all done. It's been 7 days. It's turned out really nice. I've put it in the refrigerator to stop the fermentation process. Now I use red cabbage here just because that's the one I prefer. I've used Napa and that turned out really good, but it's a little bit on the pricier side, but it does give you like a unique spicy flavor to it. But when I do it, I normally don't add caraway seeds just because I like the flavor of what it is after the fermentation. It's got a nice tang to it, and it adds great for brats, especially coming into football season and the fall season. Now you can mix it up, mix match however you want to. There's a lot of different variations, a lot of things you can do here. Now I made this for a friend of mine, Erin, and her husband Andy, so I'm going to be going to drop this off for them, and I hope they enjoy it, especially this fall. So if you guys have any questions or have any suggestions, leave them in the comment section below. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon.